A few years back, when our channel was in its infancy at around 5,000 subscribers, we got this Honda Goldwing for a review, and that video has done really well, and even to this day it's still getting views. But we thought it was time to revisit this legendary touring motorcycle. Not only that, because Darcy at the time didn't have his A licence, so couldn't ride it himself. So we've got Darcy's views and my views all put together with all the experience of all the different bikes we've ridden in that time, to see what this really is like.
Normally when you get on a motorcycle, you can tell within the first 5 minutes or so whether you're going to enjoy it or not. And I could tell within the first minute of riding this that I was going to like it. And I certainly do. It's a joy to ride. It's a majestic beast, and it's not like any other motorcycle on the market.
It's fair to say that when Honda designed this motorcycle, they wanted to make something understated, not flashy and shiny and polished and in your face. So when you arrive somewhere on this motorcycle, you're not shouting, "Here I've come, this is me." You just arrive in a gentlemanly way. When you sit in the cockpit of this motorcycle, it feels like you're on the set of a sci-fi movie. It's got that sort of feel about it. And underneath you have the rumble and purr of this beautiful flat six engine, which delivers so much torque, yet it delivers it in a very gentlemanly way.
To me, this bike is like a Batmobile in the way it looks. From the side especially, you've got a very sort of nice silhouette actually. It's not my usual style of bike, but I can appreciate the way it looks from the side. I'm not a huge fan of the front fairing, but we'll come on to the looks later in the video. In terms of the way it rides, it reminds me almost of a Jaguar XJ6. It's got that sort of gentlemanly way about the way it rides, and you've got 4 different modes on this motorcycle, so in each mode you get a completely different characteristic. You've got economy mode, which is great if you want to go on the motorway, do a long tour and be economic. Rain mode, which you definitely need with all this torque in the wet conditions. Tour, which is sort of your average mode that you would use for daily riding or touring. And then sport mode, you get a completely different animal. It really opens up, and it's not then a Jaguar XJ6, it's more of a Jaguar XJR. It's flipping quick, and that engine really purrs. It sounds fabulous. Now, if you're watching this and you're thinking of buying a bike to do touring on, then make sure you hit subscribe, because we've got a very interesting video coming up discussing why, oh, I won't give it away, but it's going to be very interesting. If you're after a bike to do touring on, you definitely don't want to miss this video, so hit subscribe. I don't want to give anyone else our idea before it goes live. And also, if you like American tourers, not tourers, cruisers, then make sure you hit subscribe, because next week I'm going on the launch of the new Indian Chief Vintage. Finally, an official launch. I cannot wait. I'm over the moon. And if it rides as good as it looks, then I think I'm going to want one. The other thing this bike has got is a double clutch transmission, so it's a different feeling than you get with a manual bike, obviously. Double clutch is lightning fast, but in this motorcycle it feels very smooth. Everything is designed to be smooth, so whether you're on the open roads in America going down Route 66 or in the country lanes like we are, it's smooth in every scenario.
Now, at 6'2", this is what I look like on the motorcycle, and it's a very upright, very comfortable riding position. One thing I must say though, on a long tour, you can become uncomfortable sitting in one position, and having just foot pegs, you're limited really in how much you can move your foot and your leg. Whereas with a motorcycle with floorboards and perhaps forward controls, you've got a little bit more room to move about on the bike. But as I said, it is comfortable, and you've got a very comfortable rear seat as well, which I will demonstrate. And you've got these little flip out pegs, and I'll put it up and it's fallen down. There we are, that's the rear position. So it's quite comfortable, and you know, you'd be happy going quite a few miles sitting on the back of this motorcycle. Now the handlebars are reasonably narrow for such a big bike, which will help when you're lane filtering or lane splitting, where you're allowed to do so. And why wouldn't you on a motorbike? We're in Tenerife and we found we're not allowed to lane split. You're sitting in a traffic jam and you think I could just be up there in 5 seconds. It's crazy if you can't lane filter on a motorcycle. But there we are. Now you've got this really trick suspension. It's a double wishbone suspension up front here, which is amazing to see, because when you're riding, we'll show you a close-up shot, you can see it moving up and down. There's not many bikes, or if any, that have this. I think that maybe the GS has something similar. But it's very good, and you get this wonderful handling as a result. And the geometry of this bike is really unusual in that you've got, I think, a 29-degrey rate. We'll check the figures in a second, put it up on the screen. 29, oh, better check now, hadn't I? Fuck's sake. What is it? Pure pros here, you know, we don't mess about. 30.5-degree rake and 109mm trail, which is really short. So the short trail, normally on a touring bike, they kind of do it the opposite way. You get a steeper rake and a longer trail, and the longer trail gives you that sort of self-centering, which gives you that really planted feel on the motorway. They've done it kind of the other way around, and I do like rakes of this sort of angle, but maybe because of the double wishbone suspension, it can be done slightly differently, I don't know. But it does feel planted, it does feel stable, yet in the town when you're manoeuvring it, it feels very easy to manoeuvre. And of course you have also got this little button here for walking speed, forward and reverse when you're manoeuvring, which makes life a lot easier.
So the flat six in this bike is an 1800cc, so it's pretty big, and it produces 125 horsepower at 5,500 RPM and 170 newton meters of torque at 4,500 RPM. We'll put that in foot-pounds on the screen for our American viewers. So it's a torquey beast. It's not really all about power with bikes like this. It's all about the torque, the effortless ability to chug along and pull from low down in the RPM range. And this bike certainly delivers that. And in terms of the price, it's about £26,000 in the UK. 2026 prices haven't been revealed yet as of filming this video. And again, we'll put that on the screen for dollars for you Americans.
Now, we're going to do a walk around on the bike. One of the things I really like is when you sit in the cockpit, like I said about that suspension, you can see these moving up and down when you're going along. I hope you can see that. Now on the handlebars here, you've got this little button there that does your reverse and forward crawl, which is very useful, like I said, when you're manoeuvring the bike, because it's a big heavy beast. But then it holds its weight really well. You don't feel that it's that heavy because of the balance of the bike. So it doesn't feel as heavy as an adventure bike, which is very top heavy, for instance. You've got a lot of controls on the handlebars, which we won't go into, but they're all there on a bike like this. And then you've got this pad here, which does all sorts of other things. For the screen here, which we haven't got turned on, can we turn it on?
Yeah. You've got heated grips, which are very good. I forgot to say the weight. It's about 370 kilograms.
What's it done? It's beeped. Are you too far away from the key?
Put it the wrong way.
Oh, right. Ooh, handlebars just
Did they?
moved. Did that? Or maybe you just hit it.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, so the rider is responsible for health and safety all the time. Enter. One thing it doesn't have now is a built-in sat-nav, because most people have sat-nav on their phones, don't they? But personally, I kind of like it when you've got the built-in, because I hate taking a phone out with me. It tells you if the stand's up. So it's very technologically advanced, this bike. And the screen goes up and down with the flick of that switch there, which is very useful. So it's nice to have that up.
The screen is good, and obviously in the higher setting it's better when you're going along at speed, but for someone of over 6 foot, I find that I need to duck maybe half a foot to actually get the full benefits of it. Otherwise, you get a bit of buffeting. But as screens go, this is a good one.
Yeah, it would be nicer if it was a bit higher. And you've got this little thing here, this little vent thing to add a little bit of extra ventilation to your face and helmet on a hot day. It's freezing today, so we don't need that. Now, one thing I do will remark on, is you've got a few cubby holes here and there. This is for your phone and bits and pieces of charger in there. And you've got a little thing here. How do you open it? Like that. Okay, it's not very big. But the point is, really, that I'm making, is that for a bike this big and with this many bits of panels and stuff, the storage isn't all that big. I mean, you can't put the helmet in and close it. You could probably with an open face. There's nothing on the back. There is a touring version, obviously, that does have a pannier on the back. You've got a little button there to open it. But the way it opens, you're not going to get a lot of stuff in there.
No.
So although it is a touring bike, it's a touring bike for a minimalist, because you're not going to get luggage for two. Just in the panniers that this has, so you probably would want to go for the other version if you did want to do that.
It's quite a bit more money, isn't it?
Yeah.
£6,000 more.
Ooh, a couple of horses
5.
there. Look. God, that one's tall, isn't it?
Yeah.
Crikey.
Lovely.
Yeah, so what else can we remark on? Yeah, as I say, it could do with a few more cubby holes, really, considering. And coming around, you've got these lights. Now, that, I think, detracts from the classiness of the bike. It looks a little bit, remember Dame Edna Everage with her glasses? It looks like a sort of funny face, really. But I do quite like the yellow lights on either side of the mirror, and then obviously when you're indicating, one of them flashes and the other one stays on.
It's like an owl.
Yeah, it's not. It's that's the style of a lot of bikes these days, isn't it? But time for a change. Now you've got a reasonably good front mud guard, but it could go down a bit further so you don't get mud and muck on the bottom of the engine, which you have got here. We haven't been doing motocross on it, I promise you.
Now you've also got a handbrake down here, that's nice to have. I have been the culprit of dropping a bike before on a slope, so if I had a handbrake, that would have been alright. You've got these grab rails at the back here, they're very sturdy, which I suppose if you were travelling solo, you could put something on the back seat here and tie it on, a big bag or something. These rear foot pegs come down like that. Quite an interesting style, aren't they? They're unusual. The side stand's good. It's very different to when you use a Harley side stand. I don't really like the style of those. They call them jiffy stands. Harley side stands.
I think so.
Yeah. Don't know. Now here you've got your neutral and drive, automatic, manual. You can switch between the two and start pressing the buttons if you want, but to be honest with you, the bike knows exactly what it's doing, and in different modes it'll change gear, or in sport mode it will hold on to the gears for longer. This button does your heated grips, which you can see there, and you've got 5 different settings for them, so you can get them just right. You can connect your phone. You can also play music out of this. It's got speakers. So you can connect your phone, play Spotify, listen to a podcast, so everyone in the whole town can hear it as well. Unlike in your car where you've got a bit of privacy. So personally, I don't think I would do that. I'd probably, if I wanted to listen to something on a journey, I would likely put some earplugs in that've got speakers in them. But I suppose if you're on the motorway, no one else is going to hear it, are they? But occasionally you see someone come up to a bike meet blaring AC/DC, don't you, out the speakers?
It's funny you say that, because it made me remember a chap I used to know. He bought a new Goldwing when they were more sort of flashy looking, the Valkyrie. And he would go everywhere with the speakers on full volume, and he wanted everyone to look at him. It's like, if no one was looking at him, he'd think, why are they looking at me? So that's what he wanted. And I think that they've, as I said at the beginning, that Honda have taken that sort of design language away and made it more subtle. but they were kind of more flashy, more American, more sort of Harley
Yeah.
styled originally, weren't they?
Yeah, they were. And I remember seeing one, maybe 80s, 90s one, in Biarritz at the Wheels and Waves Festival. And I thought, wow, that looks really cool. So I think they should do a retro Goldwing as well as this, change the styling and have a sort of classic version that looks like the old ones as well. That would then appeal to a different audience. Who knows? If Honda are watching, that's what I'd like to see.
God, I think it was so cold. We're dying here. Now, aside from this bike being a touring bike, it's just a lovely motorcycle to ride anyway, and it's the sort of bike I think you could have as a daily rider, because you could just put your gym bag in the back there, pop off to the gym, go down to the supermarket, get a few bits and pieces, go out for the sake of it, go to work, commute. I honestly think this bike would do it all, because it is lovely. The suspension's great, accelerates beautifully, it's fast, it's smooth, it corners nicely, handles beautifully. It really is a lovely motorcycle. And if it looked a little bit more stylish, I think it would be something I would part with my hard-earned cash for if I had that much money. Personally, I would want something a little bit more stylish, a little bit more polished, a little bit more almost flashy, if you like. That's just my taste. But people perhaps that want this bike wouldn't want that. So that's the sort of person this bike is for. First and foremost, it is a touring bike, but like I say, it could be an everyday bike as well. So it's a jolly good bike to buy. If you owned it, you'd love it.